Hi everyone, welcome to Ash's Treasure. This is Nancy, and I am going to talk to you tonight about food allergies. Yes, the subject we all kind of dread, but we all know that it does happen. Um, my granddaughter was born with a dairy allergy, and as time went on, my daughter-in-law developed a coconut allergy. Now, the coconut on hers is the skin. If it touches her skin, anything that has coconut base in it, she just breaks out in hives. I ended up developing eczema a couple years ago. Say I'll be 50 next week, so sorry for the giggles. I just been giggling all day long. But it's like 3 years ago, so I was 47 and just could not figure out what it was. I thought it was eggs, so I went without eggs for a while. Um, thought it was hamburger meat or um, maybe apple cider vinegar or something else I was taking. I changed the flour that I was using. I stopped drinking coffee. Everything I could think of that I normally did, I stopped and just eliminated. Nothing helped. It still flared up. It's not as bad as it was. I don't think anybody can see my thumb. No, that's the best it's been. It's been worse. So, with that, I am very excited because I'm left handed. I am left handed. Where the spot is on my thumb is where I hold my pen. So, I am glad that now I am at least able to write without a band aid being on my thumb. So, but yes, those are some of the things that we've been dealing with, or, having success here and there and everything. Um, One thing we did find out about from our granddaughter um, was the soy milk that we were using. The company that bought them out also processed an organic milk on their equipment. And apparently, through research and reading, they used the same equipment to process their soy milk. So they were cross contaminating the soy with organic milk. So once we switched her off that soy milk and we switched to an almond milk, her eczema cleared right on up. So that was really ecstatic and exciting because we just couldn't figure out until like about in the summertime we just finally like let me look and see what's going on because other things was giving us clues and things we were researching and all. So always look about your products, call the company, look online about with how they process things because you never know. One place we do know is not the Olive Garden because we can't eat there anyway. O'Charlie's. Their fries contain milk and shellfish. How can you? It's their coating on their fries apparently, but who puts milk and shellfish on their fries? But apparently O'Charlie's does. We don't eat there either. Not because we don't want to, it's because we can't. So nothing against the restaurant of Old Charlie's or anything like that. It's just that it's because they put dairy, I guess, powdered milk on their fries, and that's a no-no for us. So with that, we switched allergist and went to a new doctor a couple of weeks ago, at the uh, beginning of the month. Now, hard to believe March is going by so fast. And in this, we had her tested. And before I get through the testing, I will explain HIPAA. HIPAA violation is only if a doctor gives you information about a patient. No, you can't go to the hospital or a doctor and get information about me unless I write your name down on a card and they say I allow you to get the information. So, with that, remember, HIPAA is that you cannot go to the hospital or a doctor and get information about someone else unless they give you permission. And they have to tell the doctor and write down in their office that they have permission. So this has nothing to do with a HIPAA violation. I am just explaining to you what the test results are. And that is it. So we had her tested for shellfish, which is clam, crab, lobster, oyster, scallop, shrimp, fish mix, and a shellfish mix. And she's fine. She is fine on all those. And I'll explain next in a little bit. Don't want to get ahead of myself because this is a lot. All right. And then she has a tree pollen to hickory. And that was the only tree that she is allergic to. And that's on number 3 on a scale of 1 to 5. Then there was a grass pollen test. And that's Bermuda and Metaphysica. And my understanding and what I found on the internet, that's not in the States, but you never know. Then we had a weed pollen, and that's cocklebur, Cocklebur. That's number 2, and ragweed, which is number 2. But I think everybody is, ragweed just affects everybody. And then her food allergy, the way they test it is the reaction, how big the reaction gets. Hers was like this, the size a little bit bigger than a nickel. And I don't have a nickel, so, but out of a 30 centimeter circumference, it was 15. So she is still definitely nowhere near right now possible ever getting over this dairy allergy. And here comes the big one. Now all these are 3 and 2, but the last one will explain a lot. No cat, no doggy. No kitty cat, no kitten, no puppy. She is a 3. And it's because the proteins that are in the hair and will be in the saliva because cats and dogs lick themselves, wash themselves, and all the other good stuff. And no, it's just poor thing. She has a lot of stuffed animals though. Those are her pets. So hopefully maybe down the road that could change, but I don't know. There is a mite allergy, and that's the number 2. So that is, oh my goodness. When you look up to see what you have to do because of mite allergies, it is a lot. And cleaning and vacuuming, it's like, oh my goodness. But my daughter-in-law found a spray that you can put eucalyptus and water together, or eucalyptus and vinegar, and I'll get that recipe. And you spray it on your bed, and it'll help with getting rid of the dust mites, killing them, and then vacuum your bed. That's the best way I can tell you how to get rid of them. So most of them, they say change the sheets, get the protective covers to go on your bed and everything. And because lo and behold, dust mites are on animals, on cats and dogs. And the cats and dogs can bring them from outside to inside. So, like I said, I don't think we'll ever be able to have a cat or a dog. But we'll see. Now, the last one, which kind of explains a lot about my son, myself, my daughter-in-law, and maybe a lot of other people, but it has a histamine, and that is a number 3. Well, when we think of histamines, we think of an antihistamine. Histamine is your body reacting to an allergy, pretty much. Histamine intolerance results from a disequilibrium of accumulated histamine and capacity for histamine degradation. Histamine is a biogenic amine that occurs to various degrees in many foods. In a healthy person, dietary histamine can be rapidly detoxified by amine oxidase, whereas persons with a low amine oxidase activity are at risk for histamine toxicity or reaction. The amine oxidase DAO is the main enzyme for the metabolism of ingested histamine. So the histamine allergy here is related to food. So here it gets tricky. So the histamine chemical response for a few major functions. It's a communicative message to your brain, triggers a release of stomach acid to help digestion. It releases after injury or allergic reaction as part of your immune system. And when levels are too high or when it can't break down properly, it can affect normal bodily functions. And there's a HNMT enzyme and process the histamine in the body. Now, with that means I was reading a book, and I'll get that also. But histamine, and I'll put all the links in here of all the stuff I found so far. Histamine is found in new foods. Processed dairy milk has histamine in it because it's the way it's processed. So raw milk does not have a histamine into it. So it's somehow in the process of what they do with milk that the histamine is brought out. Have we tried her own raw milk? No, not yet. And I'm not prepared to do that at all. I am just trying to lay the information that we found to y'all to help someone out there that may think, and yes, I'm itching, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. That it could be just as something as this. So the signs and symptoms of histamine intolerance. Now, when I go through this list, it can be a million other things. But for me, this was an eye opener to me and to my son because I didn't find out until he was 17 and he had a milk intolerance. So a lot of things might have the light bulb go off. Headaches, migraines, nasal congestion, sinus issues, fatigue, hives, digestive issues, irregular menstrual cycle, nausea, vomiting, severe abdominal cramping, tissue swelling, irregular heartbeat, anxiety, difficulty regulating body temperature, always being hot or cold, dizziness, breathing problems, conjunctivitis, pink eye, difficulty sleeping or overstimulation, flushing, acid reflux, hypertension or hypotension, itching, itching, sneezing, tachycardia, which have rapid heart rate, brain fog, low sex drive, eczema, hormone imbalance, and asthma. Yes, there's going to be a whole list of other things that the doctor could say this, and this. But also because if you have a low DAO enzyme, it could be your body reacting to a histamine. Just think like if you have seasonal allergies, when you go outside and you have an allergy to flowers, well, that's your body sneezing, eye watering, trying to get whatever the pollen is out of your body. It's the same way with food. Now, with that, the causes of DAO DHEA is responsible for breaking down the histamine that you take in from foods. So that DAO enzyme helps break down the histamine. If that DAO is low or you could not have been born with it, your body will have problems breaking down the histamine from foods. You can develop a DAO deficiency or unable to break down histamine. You could develop an intolerance. The reasons: medications that block DAO functions or prevent production, gastro disorders, leaky gut, or inflammable bowel disease, histamine-rich foods that cause DAO enzymes to function improperly, foods that block DAO enzymes or trigger histamine reactions. You can be born without it or it's genetics. Gluten intolerance, leaky gut, small and bowel obstruction, DAO blocking foods, genetic mutations, which they say more of an Asian descent. I'm really not quite sure on that one. Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, inflammable bowel disease, or IBS. Medications: ibuprofen, aspirin, antidepressants, immune modulators, um, antiinflammatories, immune modulators are like Enbrel, Placrol, anti-inflammatories or Cardizan or Zac. So don't go getting off your medicine if you need it, by no means. And put this disclaimer right here and now. I am not a doctor. I do not claim to be a doctor, and I do not play one on TV. I am just relaying information that I found to you to help everybody along. Um, Antihistamines: Allegra, Zyrtec, Benadryl. And histamine H2 blockers: Tagamet, Pepcid, Zantac. And with those medicines, when my son was born, his sphincter muscle at the end of his esophagus had not fully developed. So we had to switch doctors and found out that that was the problem. We did it. Now, a tablespoon of baby cereal to every ounce of formula milk he was drinking that he cut down. And then by 4 or 5 months, I was taking just regular table food and just like everybody does now and make your own baby food. And that's how he kept it down, but it's always given him issues. And for a long time, the doctor wanted to give him Pepcid, Zantac, Tagamet, Allegra, all that. So I'm just like, oh my goodness. Maybe now we can figure out why my son has all the digestive issues. Now, you can test for a histamine intolerance or allergy by elimination diet, and then we introduce the food. And then there's a blood testing. There's a trial of DAO enzyme that you can get. You can buy it online. Or a low protein diet and a low histamine diet. Now the DAO is found in small intestines, and HNMT is produced inside the cells and usually genetically influenced. The DAO produced in the intestines and also an enzyme responsible for breakdown of that ingested histamine. Therefore, if the there's intestinal damage, the DAO production may be reduced. So, I hope I had my words in that one together too much because I'm trying to read this and look at you at the same time and all, but I was just like, oh my goodness, my poor granddaughter. I don't, she has certain foods she can eat and certain foods she has reaction to. Now, yes, see, I'm itching because apparently something I thought I normally could eat. I ate again today, and now I'm having a reaction to. The foods and everything I will do in another video. This is going to be like a 2 to 3 part series of videos because it's just a lot of information and I don't want to overload it in one video. So yeah, some of the foods it's like, but I will give y'all a hint. It can also be the way the product is manufactured, produced, processed. It can have a lot to do with a lot of things. And with my hands, I've had it worse. And I get my daughter-in-law to send a picture of when it was really bad, especially this finger. Of course, it has to be the middle finger, but it has split open at one time right here, and I had to put it in a splint like this and get it stable so my finger could heal. Um, one of the websites she's found, it was one of the foods was, I'll explain real quick, was chili. And it said chili, it was chili powder, and there's just one brand we can't have. And so I threw it away. We tried it last night, and all of us had a reaction. And the Lauren had the worst reaction of it all, so she had a Benadryl. But yeah, they said you can have it immediately. Sometimes up to 2-3 hours later after you eat the food, up to 24 hours later. So with me, I just probably have had it so much in my system that it just something can just trigger it and the itching starts. I also understand now why I have a cough that I always related to seasonal allergies. And that's what my doctor thought also was it was a seasonal allergy cough. Every time the weather changed, I get this cough. Well, then for the last 2 years, the cough just didn't go away. And I'm going to cough. If I cough, you'll understand. Excuse me. And that was not coughing. I was like, the bells were just going off, the light bulbs. This has been the whole time, the whole thing. And we just couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, this explains a lot of my overweight, when I can't lose weight, and by my hands and itching. Someone came downstairs. No. Okay, I won't. Video. No. I covered it up. That should have happened last night. That I was going to cough. But, yes. And I have no pause button on here, so there you go. So, with that, I hope everybody understand. If you have any questions, comment below and everything, and look for another video in this series, and we'll see you next time on Ash's Treasure. Everybody have a great day.